Hi, my name's Olivia, and I have about 3 days worth of dry shampoo in my bangs. I can't keep complaining about something if I'm not going to at least be proactive about it. Making a video is not proactive. I just wanted to talk about some stuff I've noticed at concerts and scold people for acting like jerks at concerts. I was gonna have like a 15 things to not do at a concert, but I can't think of 15 things. And we all know I can't stick to an actual point and that I'll end up rambling for about 20 minutes. We don't all know that. You don't know that. You've never met me before in your life because who am I? What pushed me to make this video is that 21 Pilots just announced their tour, and I dropped an obscene amount of money on concert tickets, even though I remember last year's shows and how terrible they were. Not that 21 Pilots doesn't put on a great show, don't get me wrong, but the fan base sucks. Not all of you. Some of you are okay, but a lot of you suck because a lot of you are like 14 years old and for some reason your parents let you camp out at this show in a city that's not safe for 14-year-olds to be alone in. Maybe someone out there will see this video and not act like a complete jerk at the show that I'm gonna be at, and things can just be civil because I am old. I'm an old woman with fragile bones, and I don't want to get beat up again just because I want to see a band. So yeah, rule number 1, don't cut in line. We know this, but we do it anyway. Why? You just piss people off. You get like maybe a foot closer to the stage. What do you win? You don't win anything. Listen, everyone in the crowd is dressed weird. Everyone in the crowd is pushing to get as close to the barricade as they can. You don't stand out. The band doesn't care. The band doesn't know you. You're not any more special because you're a foot closer because you cut in line. Just don't do it. There is one exception. I did 2, but I meant this one. There's one exception to this rule, and that's if your friend drops you off, so they go park the car and you hold their spot in line. Your one friend, maybe 2. Maybe. And again, the limit on this 2-friend ordeal is like 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, but really like 15 minutes. And then after that, it's like, I'm forgiving, so if it's like an hour, but you're in line and I come up behind you and you turn around to me and you say, hey, I've got a couple friends, they're running late, they'll be here soon. If they're there like an hour later, okay, I mean, I don't like it, but oh well, it is what it is. But don't let your 5 freaking friends, your 5 people gang of 14-year-old children walk all the way to the front of the line 30 minutes before the show in front of everyone who's been there for like 7 hours or more. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Don't do it. If they couldn't get out of school in time because their mom wouldn't check them out, then it sucks to be them. Back of the line. Back of the freaking line. I don't care. No mercy for those 5 14-year-old children cutting in line in front of me, an adult woman who asked off of work because I put entertainment in front of saving for college. But do make friends in line. It's important to make friends with the people who are in front of you and behind you because you're there for the same reason. You're there to see the same band. So be nice. Just because they're in front of you doesn't mean that like you have to hate them. That's weird. Make friends with them because you're gonna probably be in the pit together, so at least like we'll have some people to help you if you get shoved down. I mean, come on. Just be friends with people around you. It makes life a lot easier. I had one of the shows I went to, we made friends with like 5 different people, and that really helped like keep us solidified in our spot in line. We'd walked off to get some lunch, and when we came back, a riot had erupted because someone's mom was trying to get them to cut in line. What did we just talk about? So a whole riot erupted. People were stampeding each other. It was all chaos because a few people tried to do the wrong thing. But our friends picked up our stuff and carried it with them and were able to get us up to where they were, where we originally should have been because that's our spot in line because we didn't cut. And be nice for people. If like someone's like, hey, can I go use the bathroom? Or you've been in line all day if you're weird like me and you get there at 5 a.m. for a show that starts at 7, and you're like, can I go grab some lunch? If someone asks you that, say yeah, and then hold their spot in line. Like, don't be like, 2 people left, that means we're 2 people closer. So you're there for a long time, and if you're old like me, or if you're just a sensible person and you don't stand for 7 hours straight, you're probably like sitting, everyone's chilling. So when they go to open the doors, usually people have been standing for a while before that, but like when everyone starts standing up, don't panic. That's what people do before they walk. You have to be vertical in order to like move your legs. So when everyone stands up, don't panic. Just stand up and get in a single file line. Don't shove, because that only causes chaos, that only hurts people, and that only leaves a bad impression on the venue staff. You want the venue staff to like you, because if they like you, they give you more lenience. And you want that. You don't want them to hate you because you've been obnoxious all day, and then now they're giving you a hard time about where you are in line or getting in the venue or running or whatever. You want the venue staff on your side because that makes everything so much easier, and that might even get you a perk. I don't know. They say don't run at concerts, and I'm not about to tell you to ignore that rule, but I am going to tell you to walk so fast that it's kind of a run, but not fast enough that you get yelled at. Again, you want the venue staff on your side, but we all do it. I brisk walk to where I'm going to be in the pit, so I'm not really addressing that one. Just don't stampede. Don't do that, because someone gets hurt, and then that's just not cool. That ruins the show for everyone. EMT's got to get there, someone's bloody or dying, and then the show's canceled. I mean, I paid money to be here. It's a little inconvenient. Alright, so you're in the pit, kid. You're going to be standing there for a long time, and if you're old like me, and you sit down in the pit, and then like a lot of people sit down around you, it's nice. But anyway, you're going to be standing there for a long time, like an hour before the show even starts, and then the main act doesn't even come on for another hour and a half after that, because you've got like 2 opening acts. That's something we do now, is 2 opening acts, not 1, 2. I have to wait through 2 to see who I paid for. So don't like shove during that hour-long period of just standing there when there's nothing on stage. You want to get closer to the empty stage? Why? Don't. You're going to be standing there for an hour. Be comfortable. Have some space between you and the person in front of you, because that space isn't going to be there very long. Enjoy it while you have it, because once you don't have it and you're suffocating, you're going to wish you had it again. So just, there's no point in shoving during that weird middle period where nothing's going on, but you have to stand there in the venue. We're all there for the same reason. Let's be nice and support each other. Even if I'm an old maid and I'm tired and I just want to see the band I paid for, I respect the opening act, because a lot of times the opening act ends up being one of my favorite bands later on. So respect them, because their music, the headliner a lot of times chooses who they tour with, so listen to the band just out of respect for the headliner. I mean, come on. They're showing you like, hey, we like this band too. We want our fans to listen to them. Don't shout stuff that's rude, like, who are you? I've been to a show where that happened. It was Imagine Dragons. Atlas Genius was opening. During a quiet part, these bunch of drunk girls, who probably weren't old enough to be drunk, were shouting, who are you? Why are you on the stage? I don't get it. I don't even have the energy to shout at all, much less be belligerent to a band that works way harder than the headliner. Do people realize that? They don't. The headliner, especially at these bigger venues, they have their own tour bus, whatever, they pay for staff that assembles everything, puts everything on the stage, gets it ready to go, and then all they have to really do is perform. But a lot of your opening acts, these smaller bands, they're traveling in crappy vans where they're all like squished together, pulling a trailer full of their own stuff that they themselves unload and reload every night. Do you get that? They unload all of their crap, a ton of physical labor for hours all day, and then perform a short set because they're not the headliner, they're just the opener, and they know that, and they know that a lot of times people don't care they're on stage. And then they unload everything, put it back in their van, and then they drive. One of the band members is driving, not someone they pay. One of the band members is driving through the night to the next show, and they do that over and over and over again for the duration of the tour, while the main act is sleeping comfortable in their tour bus Or they get driven in private cars and stay in hotel rooms because they can afford that because they're the main act, and that's fine. What I'm saying is, respect the opener. Alright, so the main act is on. What do? Well, you remain calm, and you quit shoving people and hitting people, because apparently that's something we do now. I went to a lot of concerts when I was younger. My first concert, I was 8 years old, and it was Hilary Duff, and I lost my mind. I loved her. I wanted to be her. The first time I ever got bangs cut, it was so I could look like Lizzie McGuire. Alright? You feel me? I was third row, but this was like actual seating, and she almost touched my hand, and I lost my mind. So I fell in love with concerts from that moment on. My first like real show where I was in a general admission kind of deal, I was 15 years old, it was Imagine Dragons, and it was on Valentine's Day in 2012? Yeah, I think it was 2012 when I was 15. Friend's grandpa drove us all down there, and he like stayed nearby the whole time, but it was the first time I was ever like unsupervised with a group of friends at a show. Did I act a fool? No, I didn't do most of the stuff I'm talking about, so I don't know where. It's mostly children I see do this, or it's like their parents like making them do it. I don't know where this came from, because when I was 15 I would like watch how people around me were acting, and I was like, okay, they're not shoving each other, so I shouldn't shove. Later when I talk about crowd surfing, it's like, oh, this is what you have to do in order to not drop the human being above your head and possibly kill them. Like, just observe the elders around you. Observe your elders and do as they do. Another thing I want to say is, don't hold your phone up the entire time. By all means, get your pictures, get your videos, get your memories, even though every video you take can be found on Instagram from someone else taking a video of the exact same thing. But I get it. You want your own video of whatever it is. Fine. But don't hold your phone up the whole time. You didn't pay a ton of money to stand there like this for hours. And I didn't pay money to watch the show through your phone because I'm short and your iPhone 7 Plus takes up my entire line of vision. No one wants that. Just, and then put it back down. Or if you're going to record part of the song, please don't record the whole song. Please don't do that. If you're going to record part of the song for a little while and then put it down and then leave it away for at least a few songs. Give my neck a break from this number. And we'll all have a good time. I don't want to hear you complain about your phone dying if your phone's out the whole show. I don't want to hear about it. Another thing about shoving, I plant my feet at shows. Wherever my feet end up is where they stay, unless I'm like jumping. So if you're one of those weird people who like, this has happened at more than one occasion, you like lean against me and like slowly lean more against me, like hoping I'm gonna take a step over or step up so you can get like 1 inch closer to the stage, I'm not budging. My feet are gonna stay right here, right where I planted them. So I kind of lean back, and we just kind of lean up against each other. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, is like a camaraderie, like, hey, you want to rest up against me, that's fine. But most likely not, because people generally aren't nice to me. That's weird. That's super, like, if you think about that, if you're in a public place and you're all just kind of standing around, do you ever just like put all of your body weight on someone so they'll move over, even though there's like no reason for them to move a couple steps over? No, you don't do that, because that's weird. Don't do it at a show. That's happened to me more than once, so I don't know why I even need to talk about that, but I do. So crowd surfing, there's not a lot to say about crowd surfing other than if someone's crowd surfing, I know I said don't shove, but this is the one and only time that it's okay to put all concerns about personal space aside, because you have to smush together. Like, if your feet aren't off the ground because you're not smushed between two people, then you're doing it wrong. Your feet need to leave the ground because you're smushed up against people. That's happened to me. That's how you know you're doing it right. Because if there's any gap whatsoever between you and the people around you, then that person's gonna fall through the gap. It just happens. But I went to a show where a bunch of these 14-year-olds, these 15-year-olds had never seen crowd surfing before, and instead of just smushing together like the logical thing, they like stood further away from the person that they wanted to touch because he was part of the main act, and were like sticking their hands out like this. There's a hole there now. Where is he supposed to go? You're 14 years old, your arms are this big around, you really think you can hold him up by leaning over, all of your body weight over here, and just your hands and your arms. You can't. I kept Will Chapman from Colony House from hitting the ground because I, an elder woman, stepped in and held up his back. So speaking of band members coming into the crowd, don't grab stuff and pull it off of them. That's weird. Not only is that weird, but that's like assault. Like legally, if I went up to a stranger and ripped an article of clothing off, I'm pretty sure I could be charged with assault in most states. So don't like pull their shoes off if they're crowd surfing or try to pull their pants down. That's sexual assault or sexual harassment. I think it's sexual harassment. Either way, don't do it. That's super weird. Don't rip stuff off of them. And don't grope them in weird places. If they're crowd surfing, okay, the butt is free game. But, like, hands up, support them, but don't do, like, that number, you know? Don't grab a handful, just... And if they're walking through the crowd, don't, like, yeah, touch their arm, okay, I've done that, but don't, like, grope them. That's super weird and illegal. Don't do it. Also, when it comes to shouting stuff in the middle of the show, okay, but limit it. Like, there's a soft moment, a quiet moment, not in the middle of the person singing either. Please don't do that. But if it's just like a lull, you can shout like once, like, I love you, or whatever, but then cut it off. Don't keep doing it every time there's like a lull. Like, let everyone enjoy the quiet moment of just like a soft piano or a soft guitar or a soft keyboard. Like, there's a reason those transitions exist. They're not there just for you to scream over and over again, I love you, oh my gosh, you saved my life, I love you, you're the best ever. I don't even hate to say it, but that's a lie, and I'm not a liar, I'm just bitter. It's okay sometimes, and sometimes they smile or whatever, like, that's fine, but don't keep doing it. If they didn't notice you the first time, don't keep doing it. I didn't pay $200 to hear you scream. I paid to hear them scream. Overall, be a good example for the younger fans who were there, because apparently no one else learned these things like I did when they were younger, so be an example for the younger ones so that concerts aren't miserable when you get older, because one day you're going to be my ripe age of 22, and you're going to go to a show, and you're going to be like, why are these children here? Where are their parents? Who taught these children how to behave? Be a good example for the younger fans, for the venue staff who gets paid very little to handle very much, and it's not fair to them that they don't even get to like see the show. They're there, they get bullied by parents who are mad that their precious child isn't 2 feet closer to the stage because they decided to get there at 4 p.m. when everyone else was there at 4 a.m. The venue staff doesn't get paid enough to handle that, so don't do that. Don't be that person. Don't put more stress on them than they already have on them. They're there, even if they don't care about your safety, they're there for your safety. Don't make them hate their job, and don't make them hate the band that's playing, and don't make them hate you, okay? If they like you, you might get perks, and we all want perks. Maybe they'll be a little nicer. Maybe they'll let you in a little early. You don't know. You'll never know if you're a jerk to them, alright? And then thirdly, for the band themselves, you don't want bands to be embarrassed by their fans. Like, I can't even imagine if I had a large fan base and they were known for being horrible people. Like, I'm making music for terrible people who I wouldn't get along with if I met them in real life because they're jerks. Like, I would quit making music. So that's all I have. It took my camera shutting off 3 times, which definitely tells me I talked too much. So, again, my name is Olivia, and if you liked this video, good, I guess. I don't know, you don't have to subscribe or anything, because I don't really make that much content, and I'm not that great at it. So you'll be disappointed if you subscribe.
I put my foot in my mouth